Jeff Wondra joins us today for Wheels with Wondra from Snell Motors on the corner of Madison Avenue and Highway 22 in Mankato. Good morning, Jeffrey.
Good morning.
It's really quite simple to get into Snell Motors and grab one of these vehicles, perhaps a new one, or maybe a lease. We're going to talk leases today,
Yeah.
Jeff. Not leases, but leases. Because they're popular again, and for some people, they make an awful lot of sense.
Yes, both leases and leases
Correct.
are very popular. Talking about leasing, and I've seen in the last 2 years a nonstop increase in the amount of vehicles we lease on the new side compared to purchases. And it is really affordable for a lot of people. And I still get to this day a lot of people saying, well, what is this leasing, or how does this work? People talk about it, I have no idea what it's all about. And a lot of people say, well, isn't that just like renting a car for a long time? And yeah, it kind of is. You can call it whatever you want to call it. You're just paying to use the vehicle for a certain amount of time. 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever you want to set up. And you can check out all your different options there, but you're just paying to use it for that amount of time. Now, when you purchase a vehicle and you want to use it for 3 years and then get something different or trade it in, there's always going to be a balance left there. So you're also paying to use that vehicle for a certain amount of time when you purchase it and set up a loan with your bank. So it's kind of the same thing. It's just a different setup. Now,
Same but different.
Exactly. Now you get it.
I get it. Makes sense.
So another question I get is, how many miles a year can I drive? I drive too many miles. I mean, I hear that all the time. I drive too many miles. Okay, so you can start at 10,000 miles a year. If you only drive like 6 or 8 or 9, that's fine. 10,000 is just the minimum plan that can be set up. Then you can go as high as 25,000 miles per year on the lease. Now, yes, I know people right now are yelling at the radio, but I drive 30, Jeff. I drive 35,000 miles. What about me? That's fine. You can do that. You can set up a 25,000 mile lease per year, and then you can either buy your vehicle out at the end with no penalty for the miles, or you can pay the mileage penalty. The mileage penalty is going to be, actually I'm going to go over that in a little bit, how that kind of works out. Next question I get is, how much money do I have to put down? Now, you'll see a lot of advertising for zero cash down, just have a little higher payment. You can do that. Most banks like to see at least your first payment, registration, and the acquisition fee paid up front. Depending on the vehicle, you're looking anywhere between $1,000 to $2,000 down up front. I would plan on that. Makes everything go a little bit smoother, but if you want to do it with zero down, that is an option for some. I'll just say that. Are there any vehicles that I can't lease? There used to be a longer list, but now leasing is opened up a little bit. So in the past, you couldn't lease a heavy-duty vehicle. You couldn't lease a diesel. You couldn't lease a pre-owned vehicle. And now we can. We can lease all of those things. So heavy duties, diesels, crew. I mean, we're looking at like $60,000+ trucks. I mean, that's $1,000 monthly payment for most people. Leasing it provides a really, really good alternative to lowering the payment if you still need to pull that big camper. But we also lease certified pre-owned. As long as they're GM certified pre-owned vehicles, we can lease that as well as the brand new ones. That's something a lot of people don't know, and it's a pretty new program that's coming out from these banks, so it's worth taking a look at and always considering. Another one is, what if I get into an accident while I'm in the lease? Then what, Jeff? So if you get in an accident in your lease, I would say, good thing you didn't buy it. We all know that when you're looking at a couple of different vehicles, one's got an accident, one doesn't. Which one are you going to pay more for? Exactly. So in the lease, let's say you were in a major accident. Towards the end of the lease, you look at what your buyout is. We discuss what the trade-in value is. Doesn't make sense. Goes back to the leasing company. You clap your hands and say, no problem. Now, what if I total the vehicle? Again, just like having a loan from the bank, there's going to be a buyout, and it changes every month. And we look at the buyout. The insurance company will tell you what they determine as a value on the vehicle, and then whatever the difference is will be covered in what's called a gap coverage, and that's something you can ask more questions to my business manager about, but all those things are laid out. Those are questions we hear every single day, and it's not a problem at all. What if I want to sell or trade my vehicle before my lease is up? Not a problem. Just like a regular loan. Most people take out a 5 or 6 year loan. They want to trade their vehicle in 2 to 3 years. You still owe money on it. Same thing for leasing. Set up a 4-year lease. You want to get out in 2 years. You got a buyout. We determine a value. You trade it in. Sell it to your buddy. It all works just fine, just the same as everything else. What happens at the end of the lease? You just simply come to Snell Motors, and my suggestion is to sit down for 20 minutes and just go over the options. You can either buy it out at the predetermined price that's printed right on your contract before you leave when you first start the lease. You can just simply turn it back into GM, or you can buy it out and trade it in that same day. or Snell Motors can just buy it directly from the leasing company. So there's a lot of options there to turn the lease in. What happens if I go over miles? And I talked about that before. So that person that does, let's say you set up a 15,000 mile lease, but you drove 15 and a half. Let's say you set up a 25 and you drive 30. The mileage penalty at the end is 25 cents per mile. Now, what we want to keep in mind is I Googled the government rate for mileage right now, and I think it's 54 cents per mile. Let's just say that you pay $15,000 a year to drive a vehicle for 3 years. $5,000 a year, do the math backwards. It's a little under $500 a month for a monthly payment. A lot of people are going, well, yeah, that's kind of what I pay on my vehicle. So 15,000 miles, $15,000. You drive it for 3 years, 1,000 miles a month. So on the lower end, that's, if you do the math, straight into a new vehicle, that's costing you 41 cents per mile. So 25 cents per mile is awesome. That's really, really inexpensive to operate a vehicle. And for those of you driving a pile of miles and depreciating a vehicle really fast, but you always like to get new ones every few years, or when you're getting close to that 100,000 miles, this is a great option for you, especially people that have like a per diem at work that pays mileage. What you're getting paid costs less than what you have to pay. So, I mean, it's a win for you. And then I think the last thing I'll cover is, what happens if there's any damage done to the vehicle during the lease? Then what? There's a third-party company that comes out hired by the leasing company, a.k.a. the bank, and they do a full inspection on the vehicle. Normal wear and tear is just that. They don't charge you for normal wear and tear. You'll get a little packet information. You can get that anytime, or it comes to you automatically at the end of your lease. And you can look to see what things are normal wear and tear. Your tire tread, there's a gauge that you get in the mail that shows you if you need tires or not. If you go through all those things, normal wear and tear, you're fine. If there's excess wear and tear, you would just simply have to pay for what they determine as excess wear and tear. Lose a key, lose a remote, get a big dent. But there is a program that most people sign up for, and what it does is it covers you up to $7,500 worth of damage. So if you just drive in the ditch to work every day, just hit stuff every once in a while, don't care at all, and
orange cone,
and you turn it in with damage, they'll cover you up to $1,000 per area, up to $7,500 total on your vehicle. You just turned it in like that. Needs tires, it's just a wreck. You turned it in like that, but you had the insurance part of that to cover you. You have that coverage. You're all set. You don't have anything to worry about. So that's something a lot of people say, Jeff, do you have kids? And I'm like, I know where this is going. Right. Yes, they can draw their names on all the headrests. That's totally fine. Just turn it in. Make sure you get this coverage up front.
Good, because that's happening.
So a lot of those questions I get asked every day. Hopefully that makes people understand it a little bit better. And I think you just got to look at the options. You'll say, nope, I want to purchase the vehicle. Just look at the difference between the purchase and the lease, compare it financially, and see what makes the most sense based on when you plan on replacing your vehicle.
All right, he's ready to do it for you today, too, down there on the corner of Madison Avenue and Highway 22 in Mankato. As we said, a beautiful day today. Good day for a test drive. What do you want to take somebody out in today? What are you test driving?
Buick Envision. I'm all about that.
Envision. Stop and take a look at that at Snell Motors with Jeff Wondra. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
See you next week. Jeff Wondra with us from Snell Motors on the corner of Madison Avenue and Highway 22 in Mankato. Highway 22 in Mankato.